time. This first question I would love for you to answer in Twitter speak. Okay? So, does everybody gets that, right?
No.
Super short. For those of you that don't know Twitter, about 140 characters would be wonderful, right? So just in the interest of time, I'd love to go down the row. We do have these two wireless, just kind of pass them along. Who you are, what you do, and how you ended up here in Los Angeles.
Twitter speak. Ruining words as I go. Brianna Hansen, Midwesterner transplant, because animals go where the water is. Water's here. Comedian, writer, actor, the productivity princess. Hashtag Helen is awesome.
I'm one of those Canadians. Taryn, actress, writer, web series producer, science advocate, creator of Sirens. And vis-a-vis Vancouver to Duke in North Carolina, Duke in Hollywood to LA, thought I wanted to be an Asian because I thought it was beautiful art and commerce, you know. And now I'm here. Thanks,
Helenna Santos, founder, CEO of Biz in the Biz, actress, writer, producer, obsessed with horror films. Born in California, moved to Singapore, Philippines, then grew up in Vancouver, also Canadian. Moved down here with my husband 8 years ago and loving LA.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Boylan, and I am an independent filmmaker. I like to say it like that because otherwise it's producer, writer, actor. I've made 2 feature films from conception to completion and selling them, and a live action choose your own adventure app game that's on the iPhone, and I moved here from Boston when I was 19 years old. Long time ago.
It's getting better. I like that.
Okay, hi, I'm Hayley Derryberry. I'm a writer, producer, and actress, occasionally a hand model, and I'm from Tennessee originally, and then came to LA by way of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I'm Brea from Texas. I am an actress turned creator, I guess, at this point, and dog owner.
I'm Barbara Deutsch. Jersey, Greenwich Village, Broadway, LA. I got to LA because I was in a musical comedy rock group called Busby and Berkeley. And thank you. And we tanked. So I stayed, did a lot of TV commercials, and but my interest is more about you than it is about me. So I became a career consultant, life. Now I'm just a personal champion. I'm like a dog on a pancake.
She's on.
No,
Here. So I guess I should do the same. Leah Saboli, I am an actress, producer, voiceover actor, and host. Crowdfunding specialist. Originally from Philly, and I love rock and roll tattooed boys. I ended up on tour with the rock band Poison, ended up in LA, true story. And I'm also the founder of All Shapes and Sizes Welcome. We speak at conventions all over the place about body image and eating disorders and basically women in entertainment. So, Barbara, we're gonna start with you.
Okay.
So, for those of you that have the book, Thriving in Hollywood, which is Ms. in the Biz's first published piece, which is amazing. It's on Amazon, and it's here tonight if you haven't bought a copy. Your
$10 and you get a pen and a sticker.
$10 and a sticker, and we will sign it for you. That's a deal.
I know the pen is amazing.
I have a few. I haven't put my sticker on my car yet, but I will. It's sitting in my car. Barbara's piece is called Choose Yourself.
Yes.
And Barbara, and I'm not so, I'm sure you do know this, but I intuitively knew this, and it was brought to my attention earlier this week when I was speaking to Helenna, that Barbara was extremely influential in helping Helenna to birth Ms. in the Biz. So we speak to that a little bit about choosing yourself, and we'd also like you to talk about that pilot light.
Oh, okay. Is this thing on?
No, turn it off, it's off.
Put it on.
No, yours is on. Great.
Okay.
We can hear you without it.
Would you like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Fine. I believe, pilot light you want to hear about. There's a pilot light right here, right by the heart. You know the little light on the stove that doesn't go out? The little pilot light? That's your creative pilot light. And it went on when you were little. Like maybe you sang a song and you felt that feeling, or, you know, sometimes vets tell the story they used to bring in broken animals, and, you know, eventually you have to stoke that pilot light with that creativity, or it will burn your insides out. And how do you stoke that fire when you're not able to do what you want to do? Like, you have this thing that you want to do, but you can't get to do it. And I wrote Choose Yourself because I also created this brand new program called Your Life Deserves an Upgrade. Because, well, I bought a phone. I had the lower 4, and I needed an upgrade. And I went there, and everyone said, get this small 6. And I kept looking at the big thing, the 6 Plus. And then I loved the 6 Plus. This'll turn out good. And so I said I want the 6 Plus, but I didn't like the cases, so I was gonna leave. He went, you're gonna leave because of the case? I said, yes, I am. And he said, let me get you a case. So he comes back with this thing. See that sparkly thing? Thing like weighs like 10 pounds. And I fell in love. Now, seriously, I want to feel this good everywhere in my life. And I believe that our lives deserve an upgrade. And when Helenna came to me, I mean, I'd known her for so long, and she's multi-talented. And I think that, you know, this because I don't really need it. Like the skies open up and path comes down and then you walk on it. But sometimes, if you're lucky, the skies open up and this path comes down and this path comes down and this path. And you know, you really hate that you have these other gifts because you don't want to have them. Don't look over there, because that can make you money. And I really like money. And I think we should like money because it's not so adorable to be poor. So I noticed that I would look at Helena's work on film and TV, and she's so good. And you know, you wait for that phone to ring, no matter how much marketing you do, and sometimes, you know, you either wait for the phone to ring or you get off your ass and you do the gift that you don't want to, that you pretend you're not that good at. And every time someone would speak in my workshop, in my living room, Helenna would say, oh, I can do that. I can fix that for you. I can show you how to do that. And finally I said, what are you doing with this skill set that, because she also is all about service. So I encouraged her to sometimes you have to take your hand off the wheel you want the most, give it some air, you know? You're never gonna, it's your pilot light, so it's never going away. That's your problem. It's never gonna go. I mean, you're fucked, really. Oh.
So I promise I didn't like bring her here to like.
But yeah, but you deserve it, and I don't want to, I don't want to stop you, but yes, I'm glad that Barbara started off, and we started off with praise and accolades, because you don't get it much, and that's the reason we are all here, is because of you. So Barbara's influence, you've now launched Ms. in the Biz, which just celebrated its 2-year community. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you went from, you're not a stranger to producing, because you produced some of your own projects years ago, but for the most part, you were trying to do the actor, agent, audition, wait tables in between, actor, agent, audition, wait tables in between. So how did you get to the point where you're now the CEO and founder of Ms. in the Biz?
I was at a workshop that Barbara put on with Emmy-nominated people and super successful humans, and I got really fucking depressed. Because all of them just kept talking about how difficult it still was for them, and I was just like, I literally had a panic attack. Like I went through a depression, like for real, where I was just like, are you kidding? I've worked this hard for this long, and it could be 10 years from now, and it could still be that hard. I was like, this is not the answer for me. Like this, I can't do this like this. So I started to as the term is, lean in to the gifts that I had and the love I have for creating community and finding skills in other people and bringing people together and just making cool shit happen, which is what producers do. So not only in producing stuff, but in producing and bringing Ms. in the Biz together. That's why that happened. Out of a desperate need to not be in the same spot that I had been in, and trying to just make shit happen out here. I swear a lot, I'm sorry.
And from that though, you're forging relationships all over the place, top to bottom, bottom to top,
so
sideways.
Yes. As soon as I started to lean into the thing, I pivoted, thanks Startup World, into my other gifts and talents and finding how they could be used with everything else I was doing. Way bigger doors started to open than me just being like, oh, I can act and stuff, can you hire me? It completely changed everything. And now it's I am making friends with the heads of film festivals and directors that I really want to work with, who are we're now collaborative partners. And I'm in such a more powerful position for myself, internally as who I am and what I'm doing in the world, and also as a professional.
Yeah, and I guess to add to that, how when I was introducing myself, I almost didn't say crowdfunding specialist. She had to yell it out. As Barbara says, it's a gift that I was not leaning into because I'm an actor. Well, yet being this crowdfunding specialist and helping raise millions of dollars, I'm now working with tiers of people that I would not have had I just had a headshot in my hand. Now I'm going in with something way greater, and I'm working with people I would have never thought I would be working with. So it's absolutely, I think, important to look at all of our gifts and embrace them instead of staying stuck in oh, I'm this. And speaking to that and opening that up to all of the gifts, I want to go to Brea, who is an amazingly talented actress, and your article in the piece is about sort of putting that on hold for a second to go into producing your film and what you wanted and what happened for that journey with you.
Yeah. I haven't read the piece in a minute, so
I read it earlier today. It's great.
I got it. Oh, good.
I'm doing what you love, and it's awesome, but it also sucks.
But it also super sucks. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. I directed a movie called Best Friends Forever, which I'm also in, and I co-wrote it as well. It's on Hulu right now. And it's an apocalyptic road trip movie, so don't be fooled by the title. Yeah, I mean the article is basically about it sucks to do what you love sometimes. And I am a true believer that you should go do what you love. I think that's you know, I think that it's your calling. You should do it, and it's gonna just be fucking awful sometimes. And if you're the lead of a project and you're the one pushing it and you're the one directing, you're the one producing, as we usually do with our first projects, a lot of us are not handed like $1 million movies to direct. We're doing it on a shoestring, and you're up, you know, for like 3 weeks straight, like trying to shoot a movie and fit it all in. It's just terrible, and you're the only person who cares about it, and you're the only person pushing it, and you're the only person who's like begging these people to buy it and begging people to see it, and that's really terrible. But then you get to sit on a panel and tell people how you made a movie, and that's fucking awesome. So I mean, the difference is it kind of like pays off, which sort of, I mean, it sucks. It sucks to be an actor in LA. Like, I mean, it sucks to be a filmmaker in LA, like for the most part, but then there are days where it's like really great, and that is worth all the like sucky days right in a row.
Well, I think what was really interesting about your piece is you mentioned how it was a fearful moment for you because you knew that your auditions were going to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, Brea has been on some major network television shows like Heroes, and you knew that your auditions were going to slow down, but this is what you needed to do at that moment.
Yeah, anybody who's an actor in LA, you know that if you leave, if you're gone for 6 months, if you're gone for a week, you miss things. If you're gone for 6 months, no one remembers who you are later. They're like, you didn't go to your last audition with us, we're never calling you in again. And so I essentially, in some ways, knew that I was gonna really sacrifice my acting career, but it was important for me because I knew that it was important for me to become a creator and to be on that side of things, and in the long term, that is sort of like where my career goals were going. The nice thing is that my acting career, I still make, like, financially, I do as well acting as I do as a creator. I'm probably about half and half now, but acting is still like probably my main business. And it took me a second to get back into it after I finished my movie, if I was being honest. Like, it took me a second of being like, hey, remember me? Let me come audition for something crappy for you, just to remind you that I exist. And that's kind of the sacrifice you make when you start to make your own stuff.
Yeah, but I'm sure you're happier than ever because you're now forging your own way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, just to speak to what Helenna said, there's a lot of power in it. I mean, as an actor, I feel like I was constantly begging to get into rooms and begging to, you know, put me in your project, and I know I'm a good actor, but I mean, there's also, everyone in this room is probably a good actor. I mean, like, there's a lot of people who are good actors, and I'm not always going to be right for people, but if I make my own stuff, I can put everyone who I know is a good actor, including myself, in it, or not myself, you know, and I can make these things and feel sort of empowered by that, which is kind of what we came here to do anyways, to tell stories, and I get to tell the stories that I want to tell.
Exactly. Which segues nicely into Alexandra's story, because Alexandra, you've basically put it out there that although you are an actress, right now your heart and soul is producing. She has now sold 2 films, one of which is right now showing in your hometown and selling out.
Wisconsin.
And
Right
selling
now.
out. She just flew back last night. The premiere sold out, and there's more people at this theater in Wisconsin. There are more people going to see Catching Faith than there are going to see The Avengers.
That's amazing.
Yes, I used to pursue acting hardcore. I came here at 19 and I was like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna be a big movie star. And then 10 years later, I gave up. And I moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I just kind of like said, all right, God, universe, I'll do whatever I'm supposed to do. This is not working out, I'm not happy, and I wanna be happy. and then I met all these incredible filmmakers, and I was like, why don't we all just start making stuff? And I turned all of that energy into, I have a ton of energy, so acting is the wrong thing for me.
In case you couldn't tell.
So sitting in a room waiting for someone to call me is like gonna pound my head against a wall, and then as a producer, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I once heard the director of Guardians of the Galaxy said, don't go after your dreams, find out what you're good at, and go after that, and then incorporate your dreams into what you're good at.
Love that.
So I put myself in all my movies, and I give myself the part I want in all the movies. And so yeah, I always encourage people, especially actors, to find a team and start making your own stuff. And I love it so much. People ask me, you can go back to acting. Someone asked me tonight, and I was like, no, why would I do that? I'm succeeding in this path. Why would I go back to another path? So
that's amazing.
So exciting.
So Catching Faith and Home Sweet Home is on
Yes.
is a thriller horror movie, and then we went and made a
About squatters of all things, which is something I'm actually dealing with in real life.
It is, and the villain's a woman and the victim's a woman. I'm really passionate
I will
about
not be watching it anytime
telling female-driven stories. Our first film is Home Sweet Home. It is on iTunes, Amazon, Netflix DVDs. We were in Blockbuster, believe it or not. And but make sure that you get the poster with a woman with an axe walking to a house. There is another Home Sweet Home with a man with a knife walking to a house. Please on the same month.
I won't be watching either.
Thank goodness I have a joyful attitude, because that's a tough thing to take when you release the same movie, same name, same almost poster.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway, and Catching Fate will come out in Walmart August 4th.
Wow. And so, Hayley, you've got a similar journey. You and your husband are now, this is your second film that you're about to go into production on?
Yep.
And so,
Our first one was a horror film.
And you're an actress as well. So how did that journey happen for you? Was it something similar of just tired of audition after audition and making your own content?
Yeah, well, for me, because I grew up in Tennessee, you know, you kind of, when you're,
Tennessee!
You know, when you're like a creative person as a kid, you only see so many options. You're like, oh, I'm gonna be a movie star, or I'm gonna be a movie director. Like, you don't see all those other roles that are possible. And so for me, acting was the only thing that I really ever thought I could do. And then I came out here and, you know, I didn't want to sit around waiting, so I'd get on every set that I could, get experience on every set I could, doing stand-in and doing PA and all this stuff, and then
Which is highly recommended. If you've never been on a set, go out there and do it. See what's going on out there and learn.
As an actor, you'll learn more in one day on set than you will in 4 years of acting school.
Absolutely.
You'll learn so much. So it was doing that I found that, oh, you know, I can be a creative person with all in different aspects of it. So actually writing for Ms. in the Biz showed me that I was actually kind of a good writer, and so then I started, I got hired to write professionally full-time at a company, and I've been with them a year now and love it. And like, I get so much more satisfaction out of a job that like appreciates me and pays me every day, as opposed to like begging people for jobs. And then with my husband, the being able to produce when we have the free time and create from the ground up something that we want to, a story that we want to tell. It's just so much more satisfying than begging people for work.
And you know, I don't want to, we're talking about producing, and we're producing our own films, and there's probably people out here that are going, well, how do you do that? How do you produce your own film? How many people on this panel have crowdfunded something? And then the audience, how many people in the audience have crowdfunded something?
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there going, I'm not a producer, how do I produce it? Guess what? A producer is someone that pulls the pieces together. A producer is someone that pulls the money together. A producer is someone that connects everything. So you get that idea, and then you find the people that you can join, people that have those different skill sets that you can pull together, and you can put it up on
and we didn't wake up one day and say, let's make a feature film.
Yes.
There were years of making those like timed competition films. We made dozens of those, where you shoot a film over a weekend, and then, you know, it's judged the next week, and you have a finished product in 2 days. You know, we did a ton of those. We did a ton of music videos. We did short film after short film. We begged people to work for free for years and years, and then finally got together, you know, a small budget and just made a feature film.
Yes.
And now we're on feature film number 2.
Now they're on feature film number 2. They're about to launch the end of August. You're about to launch a crowdfunding campaign for your feature film, which I'm coaching for crowdfunding campaign. So it's gonna be successful. You're gonna win.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what she said, we did a lot of short films and web series. We were practicing. All of our team had made a lot of things before we jumped into a feature film. So that is important to say.
I started with a feature film.
But you had worked on them.
I had been on so many sets at that point. I was like, you know, I feel like I had spent so many hours of my life like on sets that I felt.
And since then, you've also produced a web series as well.
Since then, I produced a web series for Nerdist in the fall.
So you guys have been silent up to this point, and I know it's tough because we don't have mics, but I definitely want everybody to be collaborative and jump in. But so right now what you've heard is, okay, don't sit around and wait, go out there and do it and produce and all of this stuff. And I would like to kind of bring you two in because of your articles. Well, how do you do that? How do you do that? What are the productivity tools you need? What are the things that you need to keep yourself sane? So let's start with Brianna. Brianna has an article all about 6 productivity tips, and I reread it today and I was like, okay, how do I hire her to organize my life? Okay, so you want to do this. You want to get out there and you want to get your career going.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
I think it is going to start with me because my way will drive you insane, so then we can go right over and find out how to calm down afterwards. I guess, well, for me, I also have a lot of energy. I think a lot of people who do a lot of things have a lot of energy. And I have been drawn to this since I was little. Growing up in Indiana, it didn't seem like it was, but yeah, Indiana, okay. Politely, she's being polite about it. That's what she yeah, that's great.
Indiana and their soda pop, right? You can say soda pop, right?
We call it Coke, and then we say, well, whatever you want to say. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, so I definitely gravitated toward this at a young age, even though I thought, well, I'll just be a doctor because that's what people are. Because that's what you do. You're either a lawyer or a doctor. But then I was like, I'll be like Patch Adams, and I'll write my own stuff in 2nd grade and get all my friends together and like do a variation of Fiddler on the Roof, which was terrible, but I made a great trivia. But it's like, and then you look back and you're like, of course that's what you should have been, you know. But what that taught me by being like a person who really fought this for a long time is I became a really good student. So I became like a really good student of life. Like my degree has nothing to do with film. Most major films you'll throw at me, I'll be like, I should watch that. I'll add it to the list. Like I am not, but I'm really good at time management. So, I mean, in the article, it lays out a lot of the tools I use. But basically, it's trial and error for what you want, because my way won't work for you. Elements of it might, but the way that I've set up my schedule is a way that I like. My boyfriend doesn't have a schedule, so my schedule doesn't work for him, even though I have 4 calendars, okay? I color code things. There are certain things that I really do think can work for everybody.
Can I share? She showed us earlier that the boyfriend is a new thing. She had to figure out how a boyfriend would fit in. So
this is just my overall.
Anytime you see a heart, that means she spent some time with you.
Yeah. But I had to add a new thing because I was realizing I was getting unbalanced. So a colored in heart is time with me. It's very new, just the past few days, guys. I'm weird about this stuff, but I have just literally, what it is a self journey, like all these other things. It's a self journey and it's reflective. It's saying to yourself, like, okay, what's dissatisfying me? There's some little inkling inside me right now that's not getting done. So for me, I do better because I have a lot going on in my weird ass imaginative head that if I write it down, I calm down. It doesn't mean that an idea is good, it just means that I'm giving validity to my imagination. I'm saying like, okay, idea, you were here. I got a post-it note that makes me look like a serial killer. They're all over the place. And they don't make it douchebags searching for douchebags. I don't remember what that means. It was a funny sketch at the time, and it told my imagination that's important. It said that. And so then my imagination keeps going. But all that is just, it's ways that I look to myself and I said, what works for me? And then there are elements that I've added that are like, well, that's way too much. I used to have like a color-coded thing where I would literally tick the hours of something that, again, voice won't work for you. But elements, there might be some element of it that's like, oh, okay, these are the 3 important things I need. I need exercise, I need nature, and I need creativity or whatever. And so you find ways within your schedule to say, okay, I need to make sure that every day I carve out time for that, or every week. And for me, we talked about this, it's liberating. It's not like I, feel I gotta be on my schedule, because I'm open to spontaneity if it's scheduled in. Tonight's when we're spontaneous, because from 6 to 8 we're spontaneous. But what it does is it liberates me, because I know, all these projects we work on, I know something's gonna get touched the rest of the week. Like if I know I'm working on a novel, let's say, that's what I'm doing right now, I'll be like, oh my god, but I have this thing tonight, but I didn't get this. It's like, well, tomorrow's novel writing day. So, and then you also figure out tricks. Like you figure out, oh, my brain wants to go on Facebook every 5 minutes, because why?
Well, I love that piece. A piece of her article says that you literally, right, the phone?
Yeah.
She will shut off her phone, throw it across the room.
Dramatically.
and get what she needs done. I'm gonna try that.
And it's in small pieces. Like for me, I can build up to like 45 minutes or even an hour and a half. And that's like, you know, like running, you build up to it. Even if you do 20 minutes, like you just are like, for 20 minutes, I don't get on the internet. I do a little trick, I turn the internet off. Because then if I just accidentally click Facebook or Gmail or whatever, it says it's not there, right? And then you're like, oh, do I make the commitment to this? I know I'm, you know, it's just tricks. So
wait, what? Is this an app?
No. Yeah, that's the other thing is there are apps for all of this, right? And it's like, don't go with this. Yeah, there's that.
Exactly. Mine's called self-control. It's the app self-control. I highly suggest that you put it in the website. So you have shopping addiction, online shopping addiction. So I list it all. Like Shop Up, Loomies, whatever. Amazon is like 20 of them for 10 hours. I can't go on.
Wow.
And that's perfect. I mean, that's exactly, I guess my thing is, it's self-reflection, it's self-experimentation, but there are tools at your disposal. I mean, you wouldn't be like, I want to be a runner now, and then just wait to be like, well, someone's going to tell me to run. Or,
Right.
I guess I'll go run a little bit.
Someone's gonna give me a medal and say, oh, you're a runner.
And with the amount of communication we have, someone else has said, I want to run, and there's something out there, some tool to help you that will inspire you. And if you get it and it doesn't work, or whatever, there's 800 more that you missed, you know, that will work for you.
Amazing. Read the article. My mind's still blown from just rereading it today. And I remember that when I read it the first time, it like hurt my head, so I forgot about it. So Taryn, there's actually two kind of things to tie in that I really want to get you talking about. Taryn's articles are about putting on that armor and checking in with yourself and taking time to do a timeout, kind of replenish. But I also want you to touch on, Taryn is someone that has, and you wrote this amazing Facebook blog post about, you know where I'm going? Facebook blog post about jumping over the edge, not knowing where she's gonna land, and it landing.
Was it about the script or
Yes,
the
script.
Oh, the song?
Yes, that you sent out that you were afraid to send out, and you were afraid, and you were afraid, and you were afraid, and then you did it.
Well, yeah, it's just, okay, where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want.
Do Sundance first. Okay, so I write science fiction now as well as being an actress, and I just wrapped my 3rd season on a TV series called Granite. So I've been really heavy on sort of doing the acting thing for a while, but science and science fiction is my main passion, really, in my heart. Equal passion. I'm a Gemini, so. And so I've had this idea ruminating in my head for this string theory, music coming of age feature idea, and I saw this post on Twitter from Film Independent saying Sloan Foundation, which is a huge foundation based in New York that funds for science initiatives and science entertainment, and Sundance Institute, they are looking for scripts that are science based. And the deadline for the pitch or whatever is in 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay. And I was in acting class, this crazy acting class. It was like 10 hours, once a week, and it was blowing my mind. And I'm like, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going back to set. So then I throw myself into it, get on set, about to start shooting my new season, and find out I'm in I made it to like sort of the semifinal round. And they're like, okay, so the full treatment and/or script is due in 2 weeks. I had an idea. Like, this is literally an outline idea. And I'm like, and it's string theory. Quantum mechanics. I mean, like, I've only read maybe a fifth of Brian Greene's The Elegant Universe. And I'm like, okay, I have physicist friends I can talk to, but it's, and it's music. And I have to write original music for this script and everything. And I'm like, just get to Utah, and I'm on set. And I'm like, so what am I going to do? Am I going to try to do this, or am I not? And I'm like, God, I love deadlines. Like, because I can't get things done unless really I have deadlines, which is when I loved when I was writing for Miss in the Biz, because I'm like, damn it, I have a deadline, I gotta get it done. And so I shot for 2 days, was in my hotel, went down to the front desk, got every pad of paper I could from the Marriott residence in Salt Lake City, and it looked like a crazy, beautiful mind scene where we all had like these kind of 1-bedroom suites, and like one entire huge wall, probably 2/3 of the wall behind you, was covered in like Post-it note size things. Scene ideas, beats, just everything. And because I had to re-break the movie too, because I'd sent the idea to somebody who was on the board there, and she's like, this is great, but this is really kind of like big budget studio, and I have a studio background. Like my first job in LA was, I was an assistant clinician at William Morris. So I was for a year and a half in the trenches on the motion picture side. I have an econ degree, I have a film minor, so that was sort of how I transitioned into entertainment, was from the business side. And so, I have connections in that I've continuously tried to use when my acting career would kind of go south, and I'm like, what am I doing? I have a business background, an econ background, I need to think like, an economist, like a businesswoman. And so she was like, think, who's your audience? This is Sundance, this is Sloan. And so I had to re-break the entire movie. Long story short, literally lost my mind. 2 weeks later, submitted the draft, 3 minutes overdue. My computer crashed, of course, at the last moment when you're like, it happens. And I'm like, it can't. No, it's happening. It's not logging in, and I'm trying to like transfer files, hysterically crying. My hair is up. My parents are calling from Africa because they're on a trip there, and I'm like, I can't talk to my parents in Africa right now because of the script. And it's just like, and I literally collapsed. And I had this little post-it note on my board, because I transferred this back to LA. The entire, all those post-it things went back into my office in LA, and my husband came in and he was like, what's going on? And so, yes, it wasn't a very stable 2 weeks, but I got it done. And I had this post that said, you will be at the corner of euphoria and exhaustion. And that is exactly where I was. And it was, and I have a video on my iPhone. It's actually the second take, because the first take didn't even record, where I'm like, the date, and I just, hysterically crying, and, I'm like, I don't care what happens, it's on paper, what was in my heart and in my brain merged, and I put it on paper, and I sent it out to the universe, and I didn't win the fellowship, but what the fuck, I'm almost done with the actual script now, because what I wrote was a 60-page script, so it was like a novella, basically, because it was impossible to condense it all down into a script, and I came up with a theory, a grand unified theory in physics, and a character. Yeah. So that was just sort of like one of those really amazing.
All in between acting on set in, where were you?
Utah.
In Utah.
It's like if you really want to do something, you can make it happen. And I mean, I wish I could tell myself that all the time, because I'm the worst procrastinator ever, and I'll be, 2/3 of the way down through something, and then I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. Just scurry over here, But if I have if you really make it life or death, this is your life, this is your career. Every year you get older, and you're like, time is precious. My ideas, my creativity, my relationships, they're so precious. Can we value them, and can we somehow impart that on ourselves to get it done? I'm speaking to myself as much as I'm speaking to you, because hopefully this movie, this story will find its moment one time, because I think it's a really special story about, everybody being in tune and sort of being in the same note.
So I think this ties in perfectly with what your article in Thriving in Hollywood is, because you were at the corner of euphoria and exhaustion. And so your articles, you have a few articles in the book, tie into, okay, how do you take care of yourself as an artist? Because I know myself, and I'm sure everyone in this room, have multiple gigs. Helenna actually coined the term rival job, 10 years ago. So rather than call it survival jobs, we at Biz in the Biz like to call it thrival jobs, because it's the job that keeps you thriving to get to your dream. So I'm sure many of you here have multiple thrival jobs, plus multiple passions that you're pursuing. It's 24/7, right? Your life is a production 24/7. How do you take care of yourself?
Wine.
And I'd love to open this up to everyone after Taryn kind of gives her thing, but I'd love it. How does everyone take care of themselves?
I want to go back to that article, because I know when I wrote it, it was like I came up with a lot of good things, and a lot of them
are armor. It's about having your own armor.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's like you are walking through this industry, and you are a walking, talking business and an emotional being. I mean, as an artist and as a, you know, your own entrepreneur, it's two different sets. So you need to have this sort of, this armor that makes you, that validates you just for yourself. So for me, it's always like, okay, your artist state, where can you go, what can you do to make sure, and I steal these ideas from brilliant women like Tara Sophia Moore and Danielle Laporte and all these like
Julia Cameron.
yeah, absolutely, in our art, all that, the artist journey. Just about like how do you continually validate yourself of who you are. Like before going into, if I'm at an audition or cattle call for commercials, you know, reading something of significance and substance where I don't feel like I am the oh, there's like another young mom in a plaid shirt and you're doing a really generic Cheerios commercial audition that, you know, sets women's roles back 20 years or something. I should be Cheerios, so don't listen to me. But, you know, it's like you need to constantly be filling that, the pilot light, you know, and it's like there's so many ways as creatives and as artists to do that, but I think that it's just about taking it away from the business and always like, and treating yourself to going to see that movie that you wanted to see, you know, after you've had an audition, or just really having this sort of self-affirming action that you take after you partake in the craziness of the business.
Can I jump?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I grew a garden on our tiny little patio because I was like, okay, I've been at this for 10 years at a really frenetic, fast pace. And I was like, I need to chill out and put my hands in dirt. So I am often in the desert. I am often like in spaces where I have to do things that have absolutely nothing to do with the land of entertainment, because I forget that I'm a human and I have relationships, and I have a husband, and I have a cat, and I have a garden that needs to be watered. So for me, it's literally about the earth, because otherwise I'm living in digital social media world and I can't connect, and I can't, that's why Miss and Biz exists, like literally, ironically, through digital, to have events like this to connect to all of you amazing people and all the women sitting here, so that we're all like physically connected and we don't get lost.
And not to throw your personal life out there to the world, but Helena's husband is also in the entertainment industry, and you guys make it a point to do a date day that has nothing to do with the entertainment industry.
We do. We actually start a 9-year wedding anniversary tomorrow.
Aww.
He's in the back there with the hat. He's hiding. Yeah, we do. I mean, whether you have a significant other or not, for us, like literally, we have 1 day a week that is date day and is non-negotiable. Although, like, he's auditioning, I fired my agent, that's a whole other story, but he's auditioning a lot right now. So it's like, he gets an audition and it kind of moves things around. But we non-negotiably schedule time together, and I'm not as good as I'd like to be at turning the phone off, but I will try to be better. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, my priorities were getting really askew.
So I think it's so important too. I mean, like this is literally like my life this week is that my mother is retiring this weekend. I got a movie offer. I turned it down because like this is more my life with the reason we do this is family and friends and to be around people we love and so we can experience our lives. Like that's more important than anything the entertainment industry can offer you. I also think that like being an actor is like kind of boring. Like it's like if that is like all you do all the time, no one wants to talk to you about that. Like you need to have something going on outside of that. Because people are like, oh, I've gone around a bunch of auditions, and I'm like, oh my god, just don't even tell me about that. I think being true to who you are is so important, and that's who people want to work with, and that's who they want to hire, and that's what makes you an interesting person.
Yeah. Barbara, you've been biting to say something. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Look, I'm still pretending my microphone works.
You know, we're all talking about, we're in such a, well, not me, but those careers, writing, producing, directing, acting, there's such a void of waiting. And you wait and you wait, and you know, you have a passion and a determination, and you're doing it, but you're not getting the sign, you know, the sign to, there's no sign that says keep going, because it's a struggle. And you have to do something or go somewhere where you feel like a human being. I mean, you know, someone said to me the other day, "What are you watching?" I said, I read fiction. I tell creative people, because they are so into trying to figure out how to do this thing. And I mean, I am in that self-help world, but I recommend stop reading self-help if you're creative. I mean, not all day long, because you gotta read fiction, because creative people have like two sides to them when you grow up. There's that childlike wonder and imagination. It's right here. You know, when you're a little kid, you see little kids playing without props, toys, and guess where I live? Without toys, and they're having this huge imagination thing. They're like creating lands.
Or you see them outside, you know, you've just bought them hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of Christmas presents, and they're outside playing with rocks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the imagination that a creative person has to source, because, or else you'll be rewriting what anybody else writes, and you'll be composing music that you heard already. You have to be able to get the source of imagination, and when you read fiction, you go somewhere and you have imagination. That's why, you know, you see a film having read the book, and the book's always better. Because what's better than what you saw when you were reading it? That's one way to come back to yourself, that can make you feel good, by reading fiction. And, you know, if you're an actor, and this is an expensive business. You pay for shit before you get the goods. You writing checks all the time, right? So it's great to be able to get together and do your thing together, like actors. If they just read a play in the morning before you wrote your morning pages, if you bought, like, you know, Virginia Woolf, if you acted out Virginia Woolf with another person, that's 2 copies of a play, and you play the girls and he plays the guys, and you will feel like you've just, you know, been on a series, a mini series. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. You have to do things that make you feel good. They don't necessarily have to be outside of the industry, but stoke that fire where someone says, yes, you're great. You can say it to yourself.
To jump on that, I'd love to say it is so important to take care of yourself, because everyone has a misconception that when you succeed, things get better. And it doesn't. It gets bigger. So all of your issues that you have now just become bigger. And the pressure. Somebody asked me tonight, oh, is your second movie easier? I was like, no. My first movie was 5 people in the middle of nowhere with a couple $100 making a movie for fun. We were just having a good time. The second movie, other people gave us money, and there was a lot of pressure that we didn't fuck up that movie. And every day I had a panic attack that we would mess up. So it's really important to take care of yourself. And also for us to keep healthy, we celebrate every win. So we celebrate along the way, because things take years to take something from conception to completion. My husband's in the back drinking. When we write something that's written, we go and celebrate. When we shoot it, we say, you have to celebrate every, like you said, just patting yourself on the back. Like, we got through this process, because it's years. So you can't wait until the final. Because what is the final thing? I don't know. You're right.
My executive producer, the first thing I was ever hired to write was a project for Stanley. Like, go figure. And it was called Supermodels with Superpowers. And I made really amazing superpowers, by the way. It was like all based on like mitochondrial DNA, and everything was really cool. They hired an executive producer because they really didn't know that I hadn't ever written anything more than like web series episodes and spec kind of pilots and stuff. And he's this wonderful, talented writer. He writes a lot for DC. His name is Keith Corson. And he sat me down and he's like, celebrate the tiny victories, because the second that they would, like, okay, great, we're going from the outline and we're going to the green lighting the first pass, and I would be like, okay, we're going, and he's like, whoa, 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 take a moment. He just got the first draft green light. I'm like, no, I gotta get to work, this is nothing, what, because I'm like such the super achiever perfectionist. It's like tiny victories, and it's true, because it has never been made, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it's like those moments, just to step back and be like, today's a good day. Let's just take this moment and try to capture it, and
You're never finished.
You're never
finished. I had a guy, I have a client who was one of the original Jersey Boys on Broadway. And I mean, what it took to get your first job on Broadway, right? And I was there 3 months after he was a huge hit on opening night. And he said, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I'm so stressed, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. I said, do you know that you were on Broadway? He said, well, yeah, I mean, we're in my dressing room. I went, no. Do you know that you were in a hit Broadway show and you're one of the leads? Well, of course. I went, no, I don't think you know. I really don't, and I recommend you do nothing. You do nothing but enjoy this. Take 6 months, it's gonna run forever. Take 6 months, get the money, get the acclaim. And this is what you do this for. Don't miss the moments.
Yeah, it's so true. I think one of the first articles I wrote for Ms. in the Biz was about taking time to celebrate, because in this career path that we've chosen, there is no linear path. There is no promotion schedule. There's no 401k schedule. There are no signposts that the rest of your friends and family have. And so we just keep going and going and going. And so I think it was about 2 years ago, I wrote an article. We had done a successful panel at Comic-Con for All Shapes and Sizes Welcome. We had been interviewed by Fox News and CNN and all these amazing people. And I didn't take time to celebrate that. Even just going out to lunch with your panelists and going like, wow, cheers, we did that. And it came up for me again a couple months ago. I just produced a documentary. It's a Civil War documentary called Remember the Sultana, with some amazing, amazing people, some A-list producers and actors. And we did our screening in Memphis in April. And my parents traveled down from Philadelphia. And I want to touch on family and relationships and stuff. My parents traveled down from Philadelphia. It was the first time, I've been in LA it'll be 16 years in August. It was the first time that they have seen something I've done in the moment. Not that they got the DVD or they saw it later, but they were there at the premiere with me and got to be there with the Q&A. And a shift happened in my relationship with my parents. They saw, wow, our daughter is a filmmaker with people we know and names we know and people that have done movies before. And when I left, my dad sent me a text message and he said something like, congratulations, Lee, that's something huge, you should be celebrating. And my response was, yeah, Dad, I've got this to do now, and I've got this, and I've got to go here, and I've got this, and he was like, no, you need to take time to celebrate what you just did. And I think that's really important for everyone to take to heart right now, because we don't. There are no promotions. There are no office parties.
No one's giving you permission.
No one's giving you permission, so you have to do it yourself.
And
you have to.
It sounds like you're about to segue into this, but there's an undercurrent that we're kind of talking about in terms of relationships.
Yes.
And so, because it's really important to be self-reflective, but there's only so much willpower you have any given day, no matter what you do. So whatever it is you're setting out, like, give yourself a break of like, oh, but this morning was supposed to be the day I started my marathon, and also this, and no, like, okay, well maybe go for a walk, like that. Then you started something, But I'm very careful about my relationships. Is what my grandpa once put it. He was a cowboy, so he's like, I'm particular about my company, and I'm unapologetic. And he said it about the family inside. He was like, I don't want to go there. So it says something about that side of the family. But I'm very particular about that. And I mean, and not to say like don't approach, because I mean we all love people, but the people you let in your inner circle I think are really important. And every time you guys were talking about, when we're held up or someone stops and shakes you, I mean inherently like partnerships are that way. But I don't have a husband here yet. But I do have one of my best friends is here. Maybe he's here. Never mind, he's totally here. here, and she is so good at that. At the shaking moment, the you'll have a premiere of something you've been working on for a year and a half or whatever, and you're enjoying it, but also you're like, oh my god, so much more work to do. It's like, oh my god, what's next? And you're thinking about 80 other things, and you're also on we said we started at 8, it's 8:01, that's me. But she's super good at doing that, where she's like, whoa, little miss, can we look at what you're actually accomplishing? And it triggers that something inside of me, and we need that. We need those. And the people that don't understand it, it's not like you have to be like, well, get out of my life. I went back to my grandpa there. But you kind of, you say, okay, well, this is not what you need right now. You keep in the inner sanctum the people that are that you actually listen to. Everyone else, it's like, great, I'm so glad you have an opinion. Good for you. It's art. You should have an opinion about it, but it doesn't mean anything. It's the people that are close, because they're the ones who look at you and go, oh, you're smiling, but I see the tears. I'm the one who's, we do this really silly thing, I'm telling them. We go to the beach and we talk to the waves, and that has made the biggest difference. Once a month we put it out there and we try and
I do that too.
It's wonderful.
Not once a month, but
we try to do once.
Go down and I do stuff in the ocean, talk to it.
And it's been really, and sometimes it's silent and we'll get pissed. We're like, excuse me, we're here. And then it's always meaningful, but the point is we're self-reflective, because as much as you want to do it on your own, you need something or someone else, those close relationships.
And by the way, I hate to say this, but that also applies to your agents and managers. I hate to be the person who brings up the industry thing, with your agent and manager, someone you can't see that about you and can't say congratulations and can't whatever.
Then you're better off.
They're horrible. There's so many terrible people in Los Angeles. There's so many. Don't waste your time with that agents and managers.
Don't you love Brea? She's like the other voice. So we are down to just a few minutes left. So we do have time for Q&A. Okay, great. So we have a few minutes left. So I don't know, ladies, what's some, I hate to be the cliche, what's one big piece of advice, but just what's a nugget that you would love to share? Do it.
Let's speak of your grandpa.
Oh, be my grandpa. Be particular about care about yourself. That's it. And constantly check in, because when we don't check in, we find ourselves down the path, like you were talking earlier. There's an illumination, and you start walking down, and then all of a sudden it's dark, and you're like, but this is what I wanted, and it's like, but that's not. The path is windy and weird. So just constantly check in and do things that make you joyous, and be unapologetic about being joyous and keeping those around you that bring joy.
I realized actually the one phrase that was the real marker for that script adventure I went through, and it was something I stuck on my computer, and it was have the nerve. Have the nerve to do it. There's something about the word nerve that was just vibrated, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have the nerve to tackle this, fuck up this script. I don't care. I'm just gonna do it, And I think it was something. It was like a leap of faith, but have the nerve. That's a very evocative word.
That's awesome. I came from a jazz background. I was going to be a jazz singer.
Her voice is amazing.
There's lots of money in that. But the thing about jazz that is also about life is that there's a lot of things that are really particular. And in one song, there's all these different musicians that come together that make this really beautiful thing that has all this improvisation built on it. And I, in my life, have found these pockets of songs where I bring in different humans to come and jam with me. So Ms. in the Biz is my jam of awesome women and amazing male supporters to jam. And then films that I do, we're just jamming and we're making shit. So find the people in your life who resonate, and they don't have to be everywhere. You can have pockets of people in different places and know who to go to for different things and what songs you want to create.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm gonna leave you with my quote from the title of my own article from the book. It's a small town, always be kind.
Yes.
You hear all the time people saying, oh, it's all about who you know and I can't get in because that's just who they know, and it is who they know. And now that I'm on the other side, I only want to work with my friends and my family, and I want to hook my friends up and give them what I hope my friends would give me. So, and everybody just wants to work with people they want to work with. And it's really important to be kind.
I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned working in this industry professionally is kind of like what you guys were saying. There's no finish line. There's no point when you're done. So for a long time, I was always putting things off and waiting until, oh, when I reach this point, then I'll be happy. Then I'll, then I'll spend more time with my family. Then I'll, you can't wait for that. If you're not happy today, you're not going to be happy 10 years from now because you got a regular role on a TV show. Like, you have to be happy now. And if you're not, you got to find the things in your life that are going to fix that. Like, I just joined roller derby.
Oh.
Nothing to do with acting or industry or anything, and I think I love it. I love it. And it really makes me happy. It makes me so happy. I just blow after the practice.
So you're glowing talking about it.
I love it.
That was so good. I was like, I don't know what mine was. Not about roller derby. In the movie I directed, we put this thing in, which was that the main character carries around a post-it note that says you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And when we first put it in, I was like, oh, it's funny because it's like it's a mantra, like how dumb. And but then later I was like, no, actually, it's really.
I
it was
think
kind
about
of
that
poignant.
almost every day because
Do
of
you?
your movie.
Do you really?
I actually do.
And it's funny because I think it started as where I was like, oh, this is kind of like, because she's like, she has to have something to justify it, but now it's become something that I tell myself where I'm like, okay, this is all happening. This is where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm gonna have to just deal with the information that is being put into my way at this moment.
No, you really didn't. Don't give up.
Just don't give up.
Do we need to turn the mics back on for Q&A? You guys are loud, right? So I saw your hand go first. You want to stand up, introduce yourself, and ask your question?
Sure. My name is Helenna Johnson. I'm a writer and an entrepreneur, and my question is for each of you on the panel. What is the hardest thing that you faced as entrepreneurs that you didn't expect?
Didn't expect.
For me personally, I find that I have two to-do lists. One are the things for myself. One are the things for clients and other people that are paying me to do things for them. And for me, the hardest thing is to get to the myself list.
We talk a little about when you procrastinate, and Stephen Pressfield, if you haven't read him now, everyone should go home and read The War of Art and then do work and then becoming or turning pro. I'm sure you all have, great, good for you, but then you'll know. I love the idea of the resistance, because the second you're doing what you should be doing, or you're so close to achieving something, you're like on that precipice, that's when you're like, that's when you go, oh, what, let me try first, what's the point? Like, that's the second you turn off. And then, or even more insidious is when you're like, oh, but this important thing just came up, and then you think you're doing something more important, and really you're keeping yourself from that. So that, like, let that be your tool of, wow, I'm really distracted now. Just finish this. It doesn't matter how it's finished, and then you can figure it out.
I had a really interesting thing to say, and I totally forgot something.
This is random. I thought that being an entrepreneur would be a lot more lonely, but it's actually the exact opposite. The community of entrepreneurs is like enormous and grand and amazing, because like every creative is an entrepreneur. But then I look to people outside of the industry, like I'm obsessed with Tim Ferriss. I'm obsessed with Startup Camp's Dale Partridge. I listen to podcasts about entrepreneurship and every other business but this one. And I look to all of those people to find out what it is that they're doing and how they're doing it. And the community's enormous. And I did Marie Forleo's B School, and she's like this crazy female entrepreneur, and there's like 6,000 people in the Facebook group. And it's like, it's so beautiful and empowering, especially in this day and age. So it's like, I thought it'd be a lot more lonely, and it's not.
Oh, I guess the thing I remembered was that the thing that you think is going to launch you into the next level isn't. So it kind of like every big success that I had, in acting, where I'm like, oh my god, I just got these 2 big roles, and it's gonna totally open these doors, and then I was like, hello. Stop, shit. Oh no, So it was the things that
remember when I did that show?
this preconceived notion of this linear path as we're talking about. Emotions aren't linear. Our life isn't linear. You cry, you laugh, there's nothing linear about our life. So don't have that thing that once I get this, the happiness and the next steps will bring. You have to see sort of a three-dimensional picture of it all.
I would say you just have to love what you're doing so much. It cannot be for the money or the selling it or just exactly what she said. We made Home Sweet Home. We got rejected by every single film festival. And we're like, well, that's over now. Let's go make a live action choose your own adventure game. And we started making that, and we thought that was gonna be the thing. And then Home Sweet Home went on to sell, and no one's bought the app game. And it's just like, you gotta have your hands in lots of different fires, and don't get so stuck in one thing and then give up everything because it, like she said, it might be something else, so. And then love it, gotta love it.
I think a surprising thing that I've learned on this journey is kind of a humility thing, because I think as actors we're naturally kind of a little self-prideful. And actually admitting to myself and learning that there are people who can do some things better than I can. There are a lot of actors who can do roles way better than I can, who are right for it. And I used to beat myself up, oh, I would have been perfect for that role. Why did I never get cast in that role? I would have done it better than her, and stuff like that. And then I think actually admitting to myself that, sometimes I'm not actually the best person for that. And there are, and all other jobs of filmmaking too. But there are some people who are really great at that, and they should be doing that. It's not me. Finding that humility, I think, is important as an entrepreneur, and delegating.
Absolutely.
Finding the people who are really good at it, instead of just wanting to get the praise yourself. So,
right. I know I just said agents are assholes, and they are, but I think one thing that surprised me is that I moved here from Texas, and I was like, everybody's gonna be out to get me, and that is not true. Most people are really nice, and if you need something, a lot of people will help you. A lot of people are willing to stick their necks out for you. They're willing to come and work for free for you. And the same with all of you. You're probably willing to go and be. It's kind of an amazing community that you can find in Los Angeles of really cool people. So
You just need to ask.
you just need to ask, and asking seems really hard, but once you do it a couple times, it becomes really easy. Just ask people to come and work for free.
Well, you're leading your life, You can have people that are helping you, but you're the one with the drive and the passion and you need it to breathe, this thing that you want to do. But here's the thing. You can get all these people to help you, but they don't have that feeling that you have. They don't have your passion. So, you're basically training people how to treat you. And if you can't ask, if you make a phone call and they don't return that call, that's on you to follow up. Because you will train people how to treat you if you don't follow up and follow through. They'll say, I don't have to, you have to lead this thing. And you can be shy, you don't have to be an asshole to be successful, truly. I know extraordinarily famous people, and they are so kind and generous and wonderful. But you know what, they have two things. Justin Timberlake has this. He has a healthy ego and humility, like you said. And that combination is just stellar. You have a healthy ego, you want something, but you're not gonna kill people along the way.
It's funny, I actually tell my crowdfunding clients that for your crowdfunding campaign, you have to be willing to stand on the top of the mountain and be the town crier for 30 days. Talk about how amazing your project is, but at the same time, you have to be humble enough to say, and we need your help. So it's a really fine balance. Who else? Questions? Yeah, in the back. Gentlemen, stand up. What's your name? Yeah, you do so.
All right. Okay. Hi guys, my name is Carlos Ramirez. Not hashtag, some of you guys.
Hashtag.
There you go. But I've been in the business for about 30 years. I'm a character actor. And I'm sure most of you all know that 10 years ago we had this glass ceiling. And now I'm just really proud to be among all these women and some guys that here we have a collaborative team of not just women, but human beings who want to make a difference to the world. And that's just awesome, from hearing your story from the pilot to actors who want to experience something that's real, to Tennessee, I love Tennessee, and Miss in the Biz, I mean, the Queen. That's awesome. A role model here, that's just amazing. And just hearing all your stories, I'm really lucky. And being with Burgundy Phoenix is probably she's the ambassador of Talent Boom, which I'm just really happy to be here, and I just want to say that I'm lucky. So thank you very much for being here.
I feel like we do have some sort of film or something right here on this panel that
Yes,
needs to
I'm
happen.
gonna be directing this side.
Come on!
I didn't know that till now. We're talking.
More questions. We've got time for more questions. Anybody? 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 Up in the back. Mary Lou.
Hi.
I'm Mary Lou Taylor. I'm one of the contributors, monthly contributors to the Biz. I'm new. So hi. So I'm experiencing my first ever really busy, because we did a crowdfunding campaign to get us to buy something. And so we're making our first film, and I have part of my production right here. I've never had so many people and so many emails from so many people just going, we want to help, we want to be part of it, we want to help, we want to be part of it. And I'm like, I can't even return so many emails that we've had. And I'm always like, I email Helenna and I'm like, this question, and I'm like, I know she's so busy, but she always gets back to me like,
Yeah, how do you do that?
She's
a machine.
There's
crazy.
There's 3 of her.
You said follow-up, and I'm like, how do I do this follow-up without eating and crushing? Right now I'm not peeing or eating or
But part of it,
12 hours a day.
part of it, I mean, this might not speak to your experience at all, but part of it is that people don't need as long answers as you think they need.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like with Miss the Biz post, I'll be like, got it. And that's it. Like, because there's only so much of you that you can give, and you know what your endpoint is. And if it only needs a 2-sentence answer, like for me, I have to be like, oh, but I care about that person's soul, and they need to know that I'm not upset with them when I write this email. But that's like not it. It's just business. It's just stuff. And it's like, if it can be short, it's like a productivity thing. If it can be short, just make it short, and that's okay. If that helps.
Wait, but you're in production.
Yeah.
You owe nobody emails until you're done with production. I'm sorry, you just don't. I mean, if you're in production, just wait, and at the end of, just be like, hey, I've been shooting a movie for a month.
But I think it's people that want to work with her, is what she's saying.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she's still pulling the team together.
I see what you're saying.
Our team's pretty much together, but it's also, it's a movie about depression and suicidal thoughts and overcoming suicide. So, it's been a lot of people.
Are you getting a lot of people's stories?
Emailed us.
Yeah.
A lot of people's stories. And people emailed us with like letters and letters and letters. And I'm like, these are my personal friends, how can I?
Is there something you
Okay,
can
so
delegate?
one, just like Brea said, you don't owe everyone a response. 2, Sean Aston is a mentor of mine and someone I worked with. When I first teamed up with Sean on his Kickstarter, he was trying to do it all himself. He was running the Kickstarter, his personal Twitter, his film Twitter, his personal Facebook, his all of it. I gained my trust. I got the passwords. I went through all his emails, and there was a team waiting to be formed, but he didn't have the time to go through them. So yes, delegate someone to go through the emails and find out which ones need to be responded to right now, which ones are you need to pull through, and the rest, like Brea said, you're in production. You're going to get back to them when you can. You care about them, you care about their story, but you don't have time to spend 3 days responding to everybody and their stories.
They'll be okay.
You don't have to wait.
And here's the thing, like,
It's okay.
Thinking about it. They'll be fine.
One of the most powerful weapons in Hollywood is the telephone, because people don't call anybody anymore. And like, if you want to get shit done, if they really need you, they can call you on the telephone. They can get your phone number from somebody and they can call you. I mean, I'm a firm believer, like, I don't email my manager, I call him. Because otherwise, like, it takes, it'll take a full day to get back to me. I don't have time, like, I don't have the energy for that. They can call you if they really need you. I just don't want you to sit there and write all these emails where you're in production, like, that was in your movie.
Wait, and these are your friends telling you their story, that they just want to share their story with you?
Yeah.
Because that happened to us on Catching Faith, and I got so many emails eventually I was like, I can't do it and make a movie at the same time. And it's okay. It's okay maybe after, like collect them all, put them in a folder, and when you're done and you have a moment to breathe, read through them and respond. Let's get your film done.
You know, the act for them of actually writing all of
Was
that is a
probably
service
what
to
they
them anyway.
Yeah, that's
Very
good.
Should I totally disagree?
Yes.
Yes, go Cheryl.
I totally disagree.
Cheryl's disagreeing, go for it.
Totally disagree. Get somebody to do it. Answer every single email
If you have someone
you
that'll
get.
do it,
Right. Answer every.
But I think what she's saying is they're very personal. They're talking about suicide and depression.
I get it.
Okay, wait. So maybe the
Somebody to
answer is in
answer.
the middle somewhere.
Even if I'll get back to you when I'm done.
That's the middle ground.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's you're acknowledging the email, like
Thank
you're
you
saying,
so
thank you so
much.
much for your story, I really appreciate it. I'm in the middle of production, I promise I'll respond to this when I have the time.
And you don't have to be the person to send that email.
Just
Somebody
copy
sitting
it.
next to you
I
can
would
send
just
that.
write
And can I say that somebody's done 15 features?
Yes.
Answer every, because you never know when somebody in that you will need on your 5th feature, your 6th feature, your 7th feature.
Yes.
Answer every single one.
Yeah, I would just copy paste Christian says, so overwhelmed by the response, thank you so much. I will get back to you during production. And just spend 2 hours a day. Like you'll be surprised that you have 2 hours, but delegate someone for 1 hour a day, like just in it for that, you know? Have a color for it. We can make it teal green.
Stand up, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dion Leash. I'm from London, so this accent is very real. So first of all, I want to thank you all, and actually I really want to thank you, Helena. Before I moved to LA, I was watching your videos. When you used to do your videos about... Yes! I would watch your videos in London when I was working for Amnesty International going, thank you for arming me with some information about what it might possibly be. Our journeys are all different.
I don't even know anybody watched them.
Girl, I watched them and it helped me anyway.
Thank you.
I don't want to go on, but yes, but thank you. But my question to the whole panel, or to everyone who crowdfunded, because when we speak about the nerve to do something, I have had ideas, I've written them down, I've done the post-it notes, and then I've gone, I am going to be an actor and I'm going to wait for the phone and I'm going to get sidetracked with Facebook. I've literally taken Facebook off my fucking phone because I can spend hours reading other people's stories and not getting on with the shit that I want to get on with. Anyway, so my question is, as somebody who's never crowdfunded, but helped fund other people because friends and blah, 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 what would be, how do I put this? As somebody who's never crowdfunded before, what would be advice to me or to us in the sense of what would be not a great way to go about it, that's not what I want to do.
Where do you start?
Where do you start? Like, I know I have friends that I can email, but but that's the other thing. I don't have the money to hire Leah. Otherwise, shit, girl, I would. But I don't have the money for that, and that's the other thing. I
wanted to, because we're leading up to a crowdfunding right now on a feature film, and I can tell you, so crowdfunding starts in like 3 weeks. We've been planning this for 8 months.
And had a meeting with me 6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago we met with Leah, just our initial meeting. I think a huge mistake that people make is they say, I have a great idea, I'm going to start a crowdfunding campaign, and tomorrow morning they get up and they do it. You just can't. You have to build an online community first.
Yeah.
You have to build a relationship with people online. You have to foster and communicate with people online. Social media, you have to be social. Because you can't just send out a thing. I mean, 1 in a billion they happen, where somebody has a great idea that people catch on to. But you first have to have for most people, years of a relationship with people, or a product that they already love from when they were a kid, or just an idea that's so amazing no one's ever done it before. But you got to start really fostering your social media as a business first before you start a crowdfunding. Months and months.
You know, like the girl that's doing the film on depression,
she's already got a built-in community.
Exactly.
And so many different places she can connect to. So if you're crowdfunding for one of your film ideas, you might want to think of what could I, especially your first one.
Right, so basically you need to be realistic about your goal. What's your goal, money-wise?
How much?
Yeah, what's your budget?
I haven't even thought about
Okay, well there you go. You need to sit down, you need to look at what it is you're about to crowdfund and figure out what your budget is. Then you need to look and see who are the people that are part of your team, and if you can't pull together money to hire someone who's professional enough to at least give you advice, and my consultation, if you go to Ms. in the Biz, you get a big discount on the consultation. So if you get 2 to 3 people and everybody pulls together, then you sit down with a professional who's done it before, and I give you the homework and notes so that you can go and do it. But the bottom line is be realistic. So if you don't have a community and your goal is $100,000, you're gonna fail, right? But if you look at your budget and you go, you know what, $10,000 will get us somewhere. For $10,000, you need roughly 200 backers. Do you know 200 people? If not, then between you and your team, do you know 200 people? And can you do it that way? There are so many, and my website has so many free articles and blogs and podcasts and stuff like that.
So sorry, because I don't want to take from anyone else,
yeah.
but when do you know when to crowdfund, or if your project is worthy of crowdfunding, or is it just something you get a bunch of people together?
You do it. You just if it's in your heart and you're passionate about it, you pull the budget together and you do it. Well, you don't worry about the end result. The end result is that you pulled the money together and you made it happen. You don't worry about where it ends up and where it gets distributed and all of that stuff. Then you're in the actor mind taffy and you're going way too far. Take it step by step by step by step.
There are some sites that ensure you get everything you raise. Kickstarter, if you don't hit that goal, you don't get it. But there, Indiegogo, GoFundMe, that you get everything you raise. And that's just to get yourself started, build something bigger. When you are ready for that huge crowdfunding, you can use that.
Right. And also, don't make the mistakes I made on my first film. There was nobody around, and I chose to do it at Christmas, so I had no mentoring. And I joined Film Independent, but they were all away, right? And afterwards, I sat down and got the rules of the road that I really should have had before I did the film. But I had a very short time, and a bunch of money came in, and I figured if I didn't do it then, I wouldn't do it, which was all part of my process. However, it's not about the money. Whoever you connect with has to have your vision. Once you get your vision there, they'll do it without being paid. And when Film Independent had 2 people come in that were nominated for Academy Awards, and in both cases, their editor was like their long-lost soulmate. And if you don't have that, I had an editor and it was all about the money. And we never really, it
Here's the thing, you guys,
affects things.
everybody needs to get paid. We're all here, everybody's professional. So as Brea said, you are gonna find people who are willing to work for free. But if you don't know those people, then you put a budget together and you find people that are willing to work for the budget that you have.
And you don't need to have a huge budget.
No.
Like I literally just did a short in a gajillion different desert locations and it cost us $450. That's it. But at first my budget was $6,000 because I was going to pay everybody, I was going to get permits for everything, and then I was like, how do I take this vision and actually execute it? Because this is just a love of art. It's scalable. It's always scalable.
I just did a web episode. We did spend $1,000. We paid everybody $50. $1,000. We got it done. So there is a way. Mary, you're dying to jump in here. You had something you were gonna add, yeah?
Oh, I was just gonna say, do you have a screenplay? Do you have?
Yeah, I've written stuff. Yeah.
So,
I've written it out.
First off, I'll just tell you, don't make my mistake or our mistake, because I've done this twice now. So I learned from the first time. First, I published a book, and I did a crowdfunding campaign, and it was for breast and testicular cancer. It's called the Beard Book. And so I just was like, I'm gonna do this, and I did the crowdfunding campaign, and we did Indiegogo, so we got all the money, the thousands of dollars that we raised, but I didn't know how much it was gonna cost to publish my book.
Right.
It was a lot of money.
Right.
And so that all came out of my pocket, and then now, 2 years later, I'm finally donating to the cancer charities. And I feel like crap.
So the fact that you're not even sure what your budget is yet, that's your first step.
Yeah, you need a producer like any of these ladies up here that will sit down with you and be like, okay, here's your script, it's
30 pages or whatever, and this is how many locations you have, you're gonna have to have somebody break it down for you. Because we actually did 2 campaigns on this one film that we're doing. We did a Kickstarter and then we did an Indiegogo because we were like, oh, we don't have enough money. So just do it right the first time. Sit down with a producer and hire Leah. She's not doing much at all.
Really? There's 50 people here who said hire Leah, and I agree. And
I swear I did not pay them.
They did it for you for free.
They have all paid me.
If you see,
seriously, Helen is one of my best friends, and she paid me to do a consultation on her Indiegogo, and then I pretty much put that money back into her Indiegogo when I finished.
well, I had somebody reach out to me, Leah, who I referred to you because they knew I had done a successful Kickstarter. It's a full-time, it's an overtime job, and I was like, I can't help you for free, but I know someone who can help you if you pay them.
Yeah.
And she was hesitant. She said she had no money. Long story short,
I did a coffee chat with her. Yes.
She made back her money that it cost to talk to Leah in less than 2 days, and then some. So it's an investment, and it's worth it.
It is. But and just to not whatever about me. Yeah. Greenlightyourpassionproject.com. I just launched the website. I raised like $2 million in the past couple of years. But if you guys don't mind, those of you who have produced shorts and features, could you throw out your budget? Could you spit out your budget?
$10,000 for my first feature film.
5,000.
16,000 for at 16x the web series.
My feature film was $250, and my last web series I did was like $125K.
Our first feature was 50,000, but mostly friends and family. So, and a really small crowdfunding.
I did a 10-episode web series. It was pretty ambitious. Only done for 4,000, and then I just did a comedy western pilot and like a ghost town and stuff for $1,500.
And here's the other thing, and I don't know, my clients, 20, 25 different clients, have many of them, you raise 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000, and then that's your calling card for equity and for further investment. Many of my clients have gone on to raise more money because someone looks and goes, wow, 1,000 people donated to this campaign, 500 people donated to this campaign. This team knows what they're doing. So the crowdfunding doesn't necessarily have to be the be-all, end-all, but it's going to get you started. We have time for one more question. Somebody in the back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Marisa.
She kicks serious ass. She's amazing.
Okay, so I've been in LA 5 years, shooting and directing, running my own small production company, and I wonder how many of you can say that a lot of your success has been through the insight of a mentor, and then how the hell did you find your mentors? Because I'm in the Women in Film Mentoring group, it's nice, but there's like 8 others, you don't want to harass them too much, so go.
Great.
Thanks.
So let's start.
I actually found a mentor on Craigslist. My husband is very active online, way more than me. And we were living out in 29 Palms, California, because he was stationed at the Marine base there. And he came across this Craigslist ad where it was like, actor with 25 years experience in the industry, just looking to mentor anyone who's interested in reaching out to the industry. My husband was the only person who responded to the ad. And we met with, I'm sure you won't mind me telling you, Colin Cunningham, who is a star on the series Falling Skies, was his most recent thing, and he's been working in the industry for years. And at the time he was living in Palm Springs, and he really wanted to.
Wait, so this was the gentleman that put the Craigslist out?
Yeah. And he really told me that I have a ton of experience, and I
wanted to share it with somebody, who's interested in moving to LA. And so we met with him. We were very scared. We looked up the address, and it looked like a place where they shoot porn. Like a crazy house. We're gonna get there. He's gonna have a camera. We're leaving. But no, we met with him. We fostered a great relationship with him. He ended up marrying us at our And he gave us great advice that basically I think saved me a lot of headache and heartache when I moved to LA because I really learned a lot from him. So that was a great.
Wow, I don't recommend that,
There's so Dale Partridge, the entrepreneur I was talking about before, who has Startup Camp. He actually has a whole podcast about finding mentors because people are constantly asking him to mentor, and he's like, I can't help and respond to like 20,000 people. But the thing that I remember the most that stuck out from that particular podcast episode was about offering your skills to someone else in return for their time. So if there's like an amazing director or DP that you know that you really want to mentor you, if there's a connection through, I mean, I know we know peeps or whatever, that we can find the connection to them, being like, you know, I can offer you this X amount of whatever, like cinematography for whatever, to have like 2 hours of like your time, an hour of your time to ask you a question or whatever it is, so that it's a value add to them and not just them being asked to like give of something. But I love like resources and information. So all this stuff that I'm jamming on, I will just like send out an Eventbrite being like, here's all my cool shit to listen to, and I'll make sure I put that podcast episode in it because it's really, really good. And he's someone not in the industry, so it's really cool to get his perspective.
The other thing is I wrote a 2-piece blog on mentors on Biz in the Biz, and it happened a year ago. 2 older gentlemen who I hadn't spoken to in a while both passed away. One was my first acting coach in Los Angeles, who was about 80 years old when he passed away, Ivan Marcoda, and another one was a publicist over at Paramount, A.C. Lyles. He was 95 when he passed away. And I hadn't spoken to either one of them in 5 years. And when they both passed away, it hit me that when I moved to town and I was a 20-something, bright-eyed, naive little girl from Philly thinking I knew poison, so I would just rock everything and everything would be great. These gentlemen both reached out, and they were both old school gentlemen, reached out with tips and advice and encouragement. And I think what happened for me when they passed away is I realized sometimes we feel like we have to go at it on our own, and we just get so caught up in the do, that we don't realize that we do have mentors, and that we do have cheerleaders, and that we do have people pushing for us. And so I guess, you know, and at that point in my life was actually when Sean popped into my life. And so I was very grateful that as I was having that realization, someone else whose advice and guidance I could take showed up.
But the key to that, I have to call you out.
She was there.
No, the key to that was that you said yes.
Yes.
To a moment that you're gonna say no to.
True.
Because there was this thing that was going on, this like networking, crowdfunding thing. I was like, we should go to this because you're a crowdfunder. And she's like, I don't wanna go. I'm like, no, let's just go. Like, you all came out here tonight. Like, let's just go and do this thing.
Yeah.
She said yes. We're sitting in the audience and I'm going, why is everything that they're doing right now not working? Like, why are they doing this, and this for his crowdfunding campaign? Like, go talk to him. And then she did. And she said yes to that.
Yes.
It was like saying yes to this shit that you might not say yes to.
And then to add on to that is then realizing and accepting and embracing the help and the mentorship, because it's, if you look, you probably already have a few in your life that you're not even noticing.
Amen. That's a good one.
What is the name of the program you're in?
Women in Film Mentorship Program.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
which is a great program.
Is that?
Those are huge.
I'm in. I also think it's nice to have, just organic, just because that was brought up, organic mentorships, like, you know, you may not realize they're happening, but if you're seeking it and you're opening yourself up to it, someone will find you. Like, I've had teachers that just turn into mentors because I sought it. I was like, hey, you said that thing and it meant something, and I could get you a coffee, and then it turned into like coffee once a month or whatever, and then when they don't need them, they kind of float away. It always opens.
Yeah, it's the organic. That's a Dale Partridge thing too. Is the organic connection, because like just reaching out to somebody that doesn't know you, you don't know them, you have no relationship with, is like, oh, I don't know, because like it's LA and it's creepy. People are weird. So yeah, it's creating the organic connection.
It's true. Bridget Juergens and Jen Sparks from Dog and Pony Creative. I met Bridget Juergens at Women in Film, and when we couldn't get our movie at any festivals, she said, "Well, we'll do a poster for you. Let's hire us." And she ended up mentoring me through through publicity, or not publicity, trying to sell the film, because I knew nothing about marketing or how to sell a movie beyond a film festival. And in turn, it helped her out because our poster ended up getting her tons of work, and now they're doing great. So
We hired her.
Yeah, we hired her. They hired her. Like I was hired her, and we hired her again for our next movie. So it was organic. We were helping each other.
And then there's also career coaches.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Upgrade and your Upgrade Your Life program.
My phone are, you gotta get out of the house, and you have to meet people like this, and you can't run out when it's over, and you have to walk over to people that said something that helped you or meant something to you, and that's how you create, well, you know how to create relationships. I mean, if you don't, that's how. but there's this thing that you can do. I don't know if it's in terms of mentorship, but I went to this coach for my business many years ago. He was horrible. He was mean, but he did tell me this, because you're all single business owners. You know, you don't have a staff of people. So you invite 5 people to your house from different careers, and you have to feed them, you give them bagels. You have to feed people, that's very key. And you call them your board of advisors, and you tell them what's up, and you tell them what you need. And they come up with all different ideas for you. And a lot of them you've done, and a lot of them you're never gonna do, but you're gonna find a gem. The key is you accept, you can't say things like, oh, I did that, it didn't work. You have to go, good idea, good idea. And you would be, I've done this, and that whole group of people, it was so amazing and helpful to me, and I finally didn't feel alone in my business, that we did this once a month at everyone else's house, and we focused on that person. And
yeah, that's a really
you have to have a board of advisors, and they do not have to do what you do, because sometimes those ideas come from a non-emotional, personal place. You know, when people say, oh, don't take it personally, really, it's personal. It's personal.
I think that's a great note to end on, to get up and meet people. Wait, Talia has something she wants to say?
This has nothing to do with you guys. Fantastic panel.